Several Albertans say they were blocked from a live stream being hosted by our premier. The allegations came over the weekend as Jason Kenney was announcing the creation of a fair deal panel. Several people have come forward now saying their dissenting comments were deleted or blocked. The UCP now says it is taking corrective action. Danielle Smith from Global News Radio 770 joins us to continue this conversation. Well, this week seems to be all about free speech, Danielle.
No kidding. It was a dumb decision for them to block comments that were criticizing the approach that he's laying out, because you're not going to win people over unless you hear what their objections are and then you deal with what the objections are. And I think that I think a lot of people just assume that because there are a lot of people talking about the old Alberta Agenda letter, taking the same powers that Quebec has to collect our own taxes, to develop our own police force, to develop our own pension plan. I think because there's so many people talking about that, they just assume it's going to be a slam dunk that will do these things. But Ian McClellan led the panel to discuss the Alberta Agenda letter back in the 2000s and found that people really weren't that excited about a lot of the proposals. So I don't know if things have changed, but there certainly is a need to go through each of the different proposals, talk about the costs, talk about the benefits, and talk about whether or not it should just be used as a bargaining chip. The Premier himself, I was at the speech on Saturday, the Premier himself indicated that the whole range of things he's put on the table, it doesn't mean he's going to do them all or even all at once. Some of them really are just putting out there so that you can have some leverage, talking to Ottawa and the Prime Minister to get some of the things that are vitally important to Alberta's economic interests. So I think we're going to have a long debate about this. The panel with Preston Manning and Stephen Lougheed. So we've got two sons of historic premiers in the province. I think there's something like combined, those two premiers had almost 100 years of governing in Alberta. And so by being able to have those two on the panel, I think you get a really good balance. And in the end, we'll probably get some good proposals coming out of it.
Certainly not the only panel coming from the UCP government. Is that a good approach?
A panel? Oh, absolutely. It's the only way to do this, because you've got to hear what people's reasonable objections are. You've got to hear what they're enthusiastic about. And you got to do it quickly. So as I understand it, we're going to be able to get the results over the next few months and then have an answer pretty soon in March about the kind of things that the government's prepared to go forward on. I think panels are a great idea, especially when you're putting forward people like Preston Manning and Stephen Lougheed to lead the discussion.
Okay. Have a good show, Danielle.
Thank you.
You can listen to Danielle Smith starting at 9:30 today on 770 CHQR.